Hi ladies, welcome back. So I hope that you guys had an amazing Christmas and that you got everything that you wanted. So in today's video, we are speaking about how to get you from date number 1 to date number 2. So I will be doing a video really soon on how to get from online dating to the first date. But today's video is about how to get from date number 1 to get asked to date number 2. So I will also link our first date series up here and in the description box, so check that out if you haven't watched the other videos in this series. So let's get into this today. So you guys probably know what I'm going to say right now, and it's all about the look of it all, the appearance of it all, okay? So we all know that men are visual creatures, they like what they like, and you must make sure, whether you met them online or in person, that you come on the first date looking the way that they first met you, okay? So if you met them in person and you weighed 10 stones, make sure that when you meet them for the first date, you still weigh 10 stones. If you met them in person and your hair was blonde, when you go on your date, your hair needs to be blonde. If you were online, you must do the same things. The other thing to take into account is that somebody who smells nice instantaneously looks more attractive. So make sure that you spray on your quality perfumes and you have it on not too much that it's overbearing, but not too little that it is not noticeable. So have a good medium there, and make sure that you have your perfume on and you have your look in tow. So as we're speaking about looks, we are going for classy, sophisticated outfits, okay? Now this is whether it's a daytime look or a daytime date, like a lunch date, or an evening date. Either way, you still must look sexy but classy and sophisticated. Sometimes if you are going on a date and you're dressed way too provocative, guys will be embarrassed to be out with you and they will only see you as a hit and run or it's just embarrassing and they just don't want you in any capacity. Especially if you're dating older guys, they don't want to feel like an old sugar daddy outside. They want to feel like they're on a date with a classy, elegant, younger woman. Okay, so be that mold on your date. Let's go over onto the whole attitude, because your personality on a first date is extremely important and paramount, and it makes a huge difference whether the date will go smoothly or not. So bear in mind that we all must have a goal from the first date when we meet somebody, and that goal really should be to get to date number 2 and to be asked out for date number 2, preferably on date number 1. So for you to do that and ascertain date number 2, you need to have the personality as well, the personality that that guy prefers. So when you first go into your date, don't be overbearing and be squeaky, because you need to calm down so you can see how he is and kind of mimic it, okay? Because the worst thing is when there is somebody who is ridiculously bubbly and squeaky and it's just so annoying, and he's a more chilled out, conservative guy, and you are over there squeaking and it's just like, shh, be quiet, okay? So assess how he greets you. You're to greet him in more of a sexy way, but you are to be smiling. So you're coming across bubbly because you're smiling and you're telling him that you're so happy to finally meet him or to meet him again, depending on how you guys met. You're also coming in straight away for a cuddle, okay? And that in itself is enough. Okay, you don't need to do the most, but equally you can't be boring and just turn up and be like, hey, you're right, all right, should we go in? Or the first impressions are something that you can never redo. Now I know that you've spoken to them online or you've met them in person already, but that first date is something that must be memorable in a good way. Now you have your look in tow, the appearance of it all is going on, you smell good, and you also have made that amazing first subtle, sexy, feminine impression. So from that point, you guys go into the restaurant and everything from this moment is a show. Okay, it's a show. And when you're taking off your coat and you're giving it to the person to put into the cloakroom, it is slow. You're taking it off slowly. He's probably going to help you. And you are not rushing anything. Do not do this. Do not be fighting with your coat, okay? If you don't know how to take your coat off elegantly, practice at home. Everything needs to be a show, okay? Nothing can seem like a struggle. Nothing can seem like a struggle. So even the way you're taking off your coat, you're handing it over, thank you very much. You know, you're being sweet and just likable. But there is that sex appeal with him. With everybody else, you're sweet and you're nice, but with him, it's a bit more. It's the eyes. You're being a bit tactile with him. You are flirting with him, but you're not doing sexual innuendos. You're not doing anything like that, but you are still flirting nonetheless with your speech and the way that you're moving, your movements, because they're slow. At some points you might just rub here. You might have your boobs might be squashed together a bit. You might be like rubbing here, maybe you have an itch there. He's going to look and he's going to notice something like that. So small intricate things make a big difference, okay? Your coat's off and you guys are now at your table. So you're both at your seats and it's time for conversation. I have done a video to help you guys on conversation for the first date. It's linked wherever it goes and it's also in the description box. So check that video out if you haven't seen it already. Now, conversation has already started, okay? Let's skip that because we've done that video and go over to the ordering on the menu. Now, this is a time for you guys to bond a bit further. Maybe you say to him, oh, so what do you fancy today? Like, what do you fancy that's on the menu? And hear what he says. You say, oh, I love that. Oh, that's a really good choice. Make him feel as though what he is doing is right and he does nothing wrong in your eyes. And that's another bond. It's like, oh, we're bonding over food. You know, guys love food so much. So that's a bond right there. Also ask him to help you with the wine. Ask him to help you with your choices. Just for him to start getting used to helping you with small things. When the waiter or waitress comes over and they ask, first of all, for whether you want still or sparkling water, you look at him and you say, still or whatever you fancy, but you tell him the answer. You don't tell the waiter or the waitress. That's the first thing, okay? You do not tell the waiter or the waitress, you tell the guy on your date. And he will then respond and tell the waiter or the waitress. And from that point, guys, I'm trying to tell you, he will be doing things for you, okay? When it comes to ordering, you will not have to open your mouth and order something. He will be ordering your thing for you. He will be topping up your water if the waiter or waitress hasn't done it yet, because straight away he is like, okay, I'm, clearly she's looking up to me. I need to, be that person and take care of things. And that's what's going to happen. All right. And if it doesn't, then I don't know what to tell you. But this is what it is for me. I'm only speaking from my experience, by the way. So yeah, I haven't got this from a book. I haven't got this from anything else. I'm speaking from my experience. Throughout the night, the conversation, you are ego boosting. You are ego stroking. And this is highly, highly important because you are making somebody feel as though they are special, and you are noticing things that other people may not notice or that other people may not say to them, such as wow about their achievements, or wow about all the places that they've visited and the experiences that they've had, and wow about this, and oh my gosh, that's so fascinating, and wow about this, wow about that. Okay, so they are liking that. You also compliment them at least once on one thing of their appearance, whether it's about, oh, you look really fit, so I'm sure that you do X, Y, and Z, compliment something on them. Yeah, even if it's their eye color, compliment something on the way this guy looks. Make sure that you are remembering that there is a show going on and you are the main attraction, and you must speak properly, sit properly, eat properly, and look like you are aware of what's going on, and just be that role, okay? Be that woman that is like, oh wow, she seems so classy, she speaks well, she eats nicely, she compliments me, she does this, she does that, she smells good, she looks good. Just like, it's endless. Like, there's nothing that you do that's wrong. Be that woman, okay? Now let's go on to outside, so external events that may ruin your attitude on a first date to make you act out and never get that second date, which is something that is the guy flirting with the waitress or looking at the lady at the table next to yours. Now, if this happens, you are not to get in a huff and a puff. You're not to get stroppy. You are not to say anything at all, okay? I personally would look at the person that he's looking at, not in an obvious way, but just try to have a look or something and see what she's wearing, and make sure that you wear something like that if you do get a second date with him, okay? Because clearly he likes it, and he still likes you because he's on the date with you, but clearly there's something over there that he kind of likes, all right? So make sure that you try to wear something similar to what she's wearing next time. It could just be that it's a tiny bit revealing, and naturally men's eyes are just like da-da-da, there's like a breast radar over there. It could just be something like that. So either way, do not get upset about it. Look at me right now. Even if somebody is looking at somebody else and they're on a date with you, you are still enough, okay? And I really have to drive that one home, because some people, they haven't yet got all of their self-esteem going, or even if you have, something can happen that can just make you feel like, oh, maybe I don't look good enough, or oh, she looks better than me or something. That's not the mentality to have here. And at the end of the day, everything is a learning like experience, and if she's wearing that and it's getting more attention, maybe wear something a bit more like that, you know, not too revealing where it looks trashy. Guys, I just had to like push my wig back because the clips were digging in, so I hope that it doesn't look too weird. Moving on swiftly with my lopsided wig, honey. Listen to the words, don't worry about how I look. Obviously, throughout this whole time, you are being sexy, seductive, flirty, friendly, kind, charming, gentle, ego boosting, and just completely in your divine femininity. And when you are doing all of those things, oh, and you're moving slowly, you're never rushing things or acting like a weirdo. Everything is the show, okay? It's your show that you're in, and you keep the conversation going. Now, when the end of the date wraps up and you come to the paying part, this is what happens. He is going to pay. Naturally, there are going to be no qualms about it. And the reason why is because you yourself have carefully selected somebody who is a real alpha man, okay? And if you have not done that yourself, or if you have chosen somebody who looks better than you, or who is very young and doesn't have enough money to be able to pay a meal in a really lovely place for 2 people, then you have made that decision and that's your fault, okay? So pick the right person, and then you won't have to worry about, is he going to pay or what's going to happen? That won't even be a factor in your mind. So you've picked the right person and it's come to pay time. He pulls out his card, he pays. You touch his hand and you just tell him, oh, thank you so much. It was such a yummy meal and, you know, you had such a fun time. He should, at that point, or just before you guys like go separate ways, before he puts you into your taxi, he should ask you for the second date. Some guys tell you to message them when you get home, and then they will ask you that way in the message, okay? So if you have done everything that I've said in that date and he has not asked to see you again, I want you guys to look at your appearance, look at your mannerisms, and also see if maybe there are changes that need to be made. And also, I want you guys to look at him, his characteristics. How did he treat you? What type of place did he take you to? Was he making lots of sexual jokes when he's just met you and he doesn't know you? Was he swearing like a sailor around you? All of these things show that he is not respecting you. And if he's not respecting you, he probably just is trying to get you on your back tonight. And he may not ask you for a second date anyway. Okay, so look at these different things. Every single date that you go on is a learning experience in terms of the men that you're dating and in terms of you, your flirtiness, how you come across, your look of it all. Everything is a learning experience, and it's for you to keep building and building and building. So I think I've said pretty much everything that I wanted to in this video. I really feel like you guys have the tools to get asked for date number 2. Remember this, make him feel like a man and he will love that feeling. You've got to put yourself in his shoes. If you were a man, what type of woman would you want sitting across the table from you? What type of woman would you want to be seen out with? And how would you want that woman to look, dress, talk, and smell? You've got to think of it in that way. What would you want to be across the table from you in public for other people to see? What would you want? Okay, be that woman, be that person. Now, I've said this before, focus makes perfect. And focus makes perfect because if you are focusing on your look constantly, you're focusing on your speech perfectly, you're focusing on all of these things, the results are only going to get better. You're focusing on the guys that you're dating, the results are only going to keep on getting better and elevating. So with that being said, I'm going to love you and leave you guys here. You have the tools now to go and get date number 2. Okay, if you guys feel like I've missed anything out, then please comment it in the comment section. So we're going into 2020, beneficial dating, we're getting our looks together, we are doing the full glow up, and we are just dating for the right reasons now. Okay, which is for our own happiness. I'm going to love you and leave you, and I'll see you in my next video.